I called him Dog. I didn't know what else to call him. He come into my camp in the Everglades down in South Florida, wagging his tail, half starved to death. Someone had left that poor little dog behind. I felt sorry for him. I said, Dog, you got here just in time. You see that Jeep over there? I was pointing at my Volkswagen thing. It's not a Jeep, but that's what I called it. I said, everything I own is in the backseat of that Jeep. This is my last night in the Glades. I'm on my way now to the great Okefenokee Swamp up there in South Georgia. I'm going to spend the rest of my life up there learning. I'm all by myself. You can come with me if you want to. Well, that cute little short-legged dog must have understood every word I said, because the next morning when it was time to go, he was sitting in the front seat of that Jeep. It took us 12 hours. I drove some, he drove some. Just kidding. We got to the swamp. I took that job taking care of the animals, and I'll never forget that first night. I said, Dog, come on out here. I was on that road out in front of that broken down shack that was going to be our home. I said, look over that way, Dog. I was pointing west. I said, nobody for 48 miles. No civilization, no people, no houses, no noises except wild animals. I said, look down that way, pointing south. Nobody for 60 miles. And I said, we are home. And that dog and me, we were happy. And we were in the swamp almost 3 months. And his name was still Dog. You see, I didn't know what to call him. Till one night I heard him yelp. Went out there to see what he's yelping about. He's sitting there soaking wet, filthy, dirty. He looked so pitiful, he wasn't even wagging his tail. And when he looked up at me, I could see what had happened. This scared me. His nose had swelled up as big as a balloon. He looked like Snoopy sitting there. I said, Swampy, what kind of a swamp dog are you getting snake bitten? We don't have time for that. Then I realized what I had done. Guess what? His name was no longer Dog. He had a name now. His name was Swampy. Oh, how I loved that cute little short-legged dog. Swampy and me had so many adventures together there on Cowhouse Island in the Okefenokee Swamp, because thank God Swampy lived through that snake bite. And not long after Swampy got his name, we found Skeeter. I got a call to come back out to the park, clean up a mess some people had left behind in the picnic area. I took Swampy with me. Hey, I took Swampy with me everywhere I went. That's where we found Skeeter, a tiny calico kitten, no bigger than the size of a Coca-Cola can. She was in the bottom of a 55-gallon trash drum and couldn't get out of it. Someone had left her behind. I picked her up out of that drum. She fit right in the palm of my hand. I said, you're going to come home to our house. You're going to be part of the family. Your name's going to be Skeeter, and you're going to catch mice. We took her home. She became the boss the minute we got there. For a long time, it was Swampy, Skeeter, and me, just as happy as we could be out there in the Okefenokee Swamp. Well, one night, Swampy didn't come home. It took me 3 days to find him, searching high and low. What was left of him was floating belly up in a pond out there. I got my boat and pulled out to get him. The gator that took him didn't want any trouble with me, it just swam away. I pulled Swampy up out of the water, he fell apart in my hands. Took him back and buried him in the yard. Every time I go to the Okefenokee Swamp, I'll take a few minutes out and I'll go visit Swampy Lake. And I will look at that alligator that took my dog so many years ago. And I will remember. You see, if the alligator had come up into my yard after Swampy, I'd have shot him on the spot. We got to defend what's ours. But that's not how it happens. Swampy and me have been together for a long time. We had both become very much swamp-wise. There's one thing we had learned about all the wild animals that lived around us. The bear, the bobcat, the alligator, the panther, all the wild animals work for this earth we live on. They're part of nature's team. They mind their own business. They do the job they've been created to do. Other than that, The rules of conduct for wild animals are harsh and strict. Other than that, they mind their own business. It was not the alligator's fault that that happened. It was Swampy. 1 second, my best friend forgot to be swamp-wise. The same thing could happen to anybody, even somebody as old as me. I forget 1 second to look up and down the street before I'll go to cross it, and everybody here knows what could happen if a truck came by. Are we going to spend the rest of our life hating all the trucks? We're going to go out tonight and shoot a few trucks, get some revenge? I don't hate that alligator, but I'm sure sorry it happened. And Swampy, here's your song. Swampy the dog, Skeeter the cat, and me. Living in the swamp, loving every minute, just being free. Okefenokee, Georgia, population 3. Swampy the dog, Skeeter the cat, and me. That's the way it was in that broken down shack I called home. Living off the land, but not exactly living alone. My playful 2 companions were always there to help me along. With a whole lot of sharing, a whole lot of caring, life was like a beautiful song, and I'd sing Swampy the dog, Skeeter the cat, and me. Living in the swamp, loving every minute, just being free. Okefenokee, Georgia, population 3. Swampy the dog, Skeeter the cat, and me. But you know the swamp is a way of changing things. And that old bull gator meant me no harm. But when he dragged Swampy under, it was like he took my right arm. Life in the Okefenokee is beautiful, but there's bound to be a few bad times. I'm just glad I'm still around. And Swampy, wherever you are today, you're on my mind. Be a long time forgetting the love in those faithful brown eyes. Swampy was my friend, and oh, how I cried when he died. Now me and little Skeeter are both a little older and wise. No need explaining, though times are changing, we keep the old memories alive. Swampy the dog, Skeeter the cat, and me. Living in the swamp, loving every minute, just being free. Okefenokee, Georgia, population 3. Swampy the dog,